And sometimes I would have people who really resented that because they were like, we just hired you to be an actor. Yet when I went in the meetings, I would just seem like I'm just there to be the actor and ready to get the gig. I wouldn't reveal that I actually need to have authorship in order to feel fulfilled. So I think that for them, sometimes that might have felt like a rug pull because you're like, you're trying to assert yourself into something that we didn't hire you to do. So there are moments, it's just as important to say, okay, I believe in this, and that's why I'm standing up for it, and that's why I'm not being difficult. And then there are other moments to go like, am I the asshole in the room? Like, what is happening here? I think it's about being upfront about like knowing what you actually need versus just like trying to get the job. And then, once you're in it, sort of revealing the scope of your sort of, needs to be, fulfilled.
Blake Lively just dropped a bombshell in a recent interview. She admitted that she sometimes lies her way into movie roles just to take over creatively once she's in. Yes, you heard that right. Hollywood's sweetheart is actually making big power moves behind the scenes. And guess what? She's not doing it alone. Her husband, Ryan Reynolds, is right there with her. Together, they've created a smart strategy to quietly take control of the movies they're in, and it's honestly kind of genius. Let's break down how they do it. Step 1 is what I call the humble entry. Blake will sign on to a film, like It Ends With Us, for a surprisingly low paycheck. For example, she reportedly only made $3 million for the role, which is a lot of money for most people, but not for someone of her status. So why take less? Because it makes her seem humble and focused on the story, not the money. But that's not the real goal. What she's really after is the executive producer credit, a title that seems harmless, but actually gives her real creative power on set. Sound familiar? That's because Ryan Reynolds did the exact same thing with Deadpool. He accepted a super low salary of $2 million, unheard of for a superhero movie lead, just to gain the trust of the team and get more say over how the movie was made. Once they had creative control, that's when the real takeover began. Step 2 is what I call the budget trap. With her producer title in place, Blake starts giving input that seems helpful, but actually causes chaos. For example, on It Ends With Us, she waited until half the wardrobe budget was already spent before demanding a complete overhaul of all her costumes. Everything had to go. She had her own outfits tailored and delivered to her and Ryan's home for fittings, refusing to go to the studio like everyone else. This caused a ton of stress for the crew and wasted time and money. But that's kind of the point. She creates pressure, shakes things up, and takes more control while the team scrambles to keep up. And by step 3, the no-win situation, the director, Justin Baldoni, was stuck. Half the budget was gone, and Blake had taken over major creative decisions. At that point, he had 2 choices: challenge her and risk the whole production falling apart, or give in and let her run the show. Guess what he chose? Yep, he gave in. Suddenly, Blake wasn't just the star. She was calling the shots behind the scenes too. This isn't just a one-time thing. For Blake and Ryan, it's a long-term strategy. They take smaller paychecks and sneak into producer roles so they can shape the films from the inside. And the most impressive part? They do it all while keeping their image squeaky clean. Fans see them as this fun, down-to-earth couple, while behind the scenes, they're running a quiet, creative empire. Blake Lively isn't just acting in It Ends With Us. She's running the show. After signing on for a surprisingly low paycheck, Blake used her executive producer title to slowly take over the project. What started as a few harmless suggestions turned into full-blown control. She became indispensable, not just the lead actress, but the one pulling all the strings. Director Justin Baldoni watched his passion project fall apart in front